Assalamualaikum and good morning. And today we are presenting an infertility represented by group 4 for this assignment 2 task. So let's look at the contents what we have. First, we have an introduction for the fertility. Second, we have a current data and graph about the rate of infertility in Malaysia. And third, we have treatment chosen, which is we have choose IVF treatment for the infertility issue. And four, we have the procedure about the IVF treatment. And five, we have a fatwa about discussion and opinion using IVF treatment for fertilization in Islamic perspective. And six, we have a diagram related about the IVF treatment. And lastly, we have a conclusion and reference what we use for the treatment chosen IVF.
We move on to the first slide, which is the introduction of the infertility. What is infertility? Infertility is defined as the inability to conceive after 1 year of unprotected sexual intercourse. It affects both men and women and has becoming a rising issue in Malaysia. According to recent reports, more couples are struggling to start a family despite being married for several years. This has led to increasing demand for fertility treatments. Several factors contribute to infertility, including lifestyle, age, and medical conditions. Fortunately, medical science has developed various treatment methods to help couples overcome this issue, and one of the most effective and widely used method is IVF.
Next, let's look at the current data and graph. So by looking at this graph, we can see that in 1985, the total fertility rate was above 6.0, which it means on average, each woman had more than 6 children. But the fertility rate has steadily declined over the years and decades. By around 2000, the total fertility rate, TFR, has dropped below 2.0, and recently in 2020 until 2023, it fell to 1.5, which this indicates that there have a gradually decrease in fertility rate between years 2020 and 2023. This may be because Malaysians are having a fewer children than before. Seems like this trend suggests of growing infertility, lifestyle changes, or a delay in marriage and childbearing. Therefore, it highlights the need for fertility awareness and treatment such as in vitro fertilization of one, especially for couples struggling for conceive.
Next, we move on to the procedure steps involved in IVF. The first step is ovarian stimulation, where the woman is given hormonal injection for about 10 to 14 days to stimulate the ovaries to produce multiple eggs. Next, egg retrieval and the sperm collection. Once the eggs are mature, they are collected from the ovaries using a needle guided by ultrasound. And for the sperm, a semen sample is collected from the male partner. Then the sperm will be processed and prepared for fertilization. The third procedure is fertilization, where the collected eggs and sperm are combined in a laboratory dish for fertilization. Next, for embryo culture, the fertilized eggs, now known as embryos, are marinated for 3 to 5 days to ensure proper development. Next, embryo transfer. One or more healthy embryos are transferred into the woman's uterus using a thin catheter. And the last one, pregnancy test. Around 10 to 14 days after embryo transfer, a blood test is done to check if implantation was successful.
Okay, now let's look at the Islamic perspective on the permissibility of IVF or in vitro fertilization based on two key religious institutions in Egypt. Firstly, according to Al-Azhar Fatwa Committee Archive, IVF is considered permissible under specific conditions, which it must involve a married couple, husband and wife. During the period of their marriage, importantly, the use of third-party donors is strictly prohibited. This ensures that the biological contributions come solely from the spouse, preserving lineage and family structure as recognized in Islamic law. Secondly, Dar al-Ifta al-Misriyah provides a similar ruling that emphasizes that IVF is allowed as long as there is no missing of lineage. The procedure must occur within the framework of a valid marriage. This ruling also reinforces the protection of family identity and lineage, which are core values in Islamic teachings. In summary, both institutions support the use of IVF as long as it upholds the sanctity of marriage and does not involve any external genetic contributors.
We move on to the conclusions. We have 3 conclusions. Conclusion 1. Infertility is a growing concern in Malaysia, with a steady decline in infertility rates over the past decades. This issue affects the emotional well-being of many couples and the country's demographic. The second one, IVF is the most effective treatments available, offering hope to couples that are trying to conceive. And the third one, with medical advance and Islamic rulings, IVF is the key solution to help them. Awareness and early diagnosis are essential to address infertility effectively.
Now let's look at our reference. This reference we use for our presentation. Let's look at the number 1. We use Department of Statistics Malaysia, which indicates the graph and the data of the fertility rate years by years. And then we use Ministry of Health Malaysia website to introduce the infertility definition and introduction. And we'll use International Islamic Fiqh Academy or IIFA and also DAR Alifta for fatwa about IVF treatment and the discussion and opinion from the scholar by Islamic perspective about the IVF treatment. And lastly, we use Cliff Lane Clinic website for the IVF procedure and how it works on the treatment.